Hello fellow mortal, welcome back to Golden RPG. Today, we're gonna talk about one of the best leveling builds at the moment, but it's been forgotten. Werewolf Tornado Druid. The Werewolf Tornado Druid is a powerful build that focuses on using the werewolf form and the tornado skill to deal massive damage to enemies. The build uses the werewolf form to increase the druid's damage output significantly. Combined with the tornado skill, allows the druid to deal a lot of damage to enemies in a short amount of time. The werewolf form also gives the druid increased survivability. Cover your head with a helmet with the main star armor. Make sure that helmet also has increased damage while shift, critical strike damage, maximum spirit, and some resistance that you lack. Don't forget about aspect on this item, the most valuable thing you can get, which increases spirit when you cast storm skill. If you have a gem slot, take more defense for our old man. Down to the chest. Besides main star's armor, takes as much as defense you can get, damage reduction while fortified, from close enemies, from distant enemies, or any kind of damage reduction. You also can replace them with armor or health. Aspect on this item will make your old man even tanker. You must focus on stat, increased ranks of tornado skill, and lucky hit chance. These stats are must-have on this item, or the stat can be flexible, but it should be attack speed, and you don't have many sources to get that. Have you ever seen a chasing missile? Yeah, aspect on this item will create a chasing tornado for you. Just like your chest piece, these pants also focus on damage reduction, heal, and armor. These items' aspects are very simple. The more you get hit, the tanker you get. So on with the boost. Very simple. You get to run, so movement speed is a must-have. The other stats can improve your damage or defense. We're gonna see Unstoppable Druid late, but just remember, this item will increase your speed after you get into Unstoppable state, which is 100% up in the final build. So this old man seems pretty tough now. Let's give him some weapons. The first one is an axe. Remember to get these best in slot stat, vulnerable damage, critical damage. Just in case you can get all of them, just take anything that increases damage. For the aspect, it will increase your damage dealt based on the amount of fortify. The second one is a totem. Here you can get all the cooldowns you need. Other than that, you must get lucky hit or more damage with a critical chance. The amulet takes on element resistance, more cooldown, and more defense. The aspect also increases your movement speed when shapeshifter into a werewolf. Now on the ring, not one, both of them. Focus on element resistance. Take as much as you can on damage with substat. Increased damage like vulnerable, critical chance, or maybe a little bit lucky hit. These ring aspects will increase your damage, dealing with critical chance or attack speed. Let's take a look again before we get to the next chapter. There are many stats and status effects that generate on gear. Here are some stats you need to focus on. Critical strike chance, critical strike damage, vulnerable damage, and core skill damage are the huge damage boost, so stack them as much as possible. But the most important is the aspect of an item. You must get it right to maximize these buildings' power. Damage reduction in all of its forms. Damage reduction from close enemies, damage reduction while crowd controlled, armor and resistance to all elements as well. Movement speed on boots. You gotta move. Looks like he has some pretty strong clothes now. Time to train him with more specialized skills. What else can it? Of course, it's Tornado. This skill is very simple. Conjure a swirling tornado and deal damage with it. Later on, modifiers increase in Enhanced and Raging Tornado to get a chance to cast Double Tornado and make enemies vulnerable with these skills. On the second skill, Storm Strike, this skill is very useful. Not only does it deal damage with multiple chain lightning, but also gains your old druid damage reduction. It gets even more imba after enhancement. Storm Strike will gain a chance to immobilize enemies and make them vulnerable. The next one is Hurricane. Well, just like the second skill, This hurricane also deals damage to enemies by forming a hurricane around your druid and deal damage to enemy. Enemies who are damaged by a hurricane are slowed and they also deal lesser damage. Here you are. How can you call yourself a werewolf without shapeshifter skill? Blood Howl will heal you and increase your maximum life. But it's only getting beautiful after you enhance and increase on Preserving, which will lower Blood Howl cooldown and increase your old man attack speed. Another shape-shifting skill, Grizzly Rage, transforms you into Dire Werebear, then increases damage dealt and damage reduction. Every skill you have will extend the duration by 1 second, but only get a maximum of 5 seconds. While you are in Werebear form enhancement, will get you Unstoppable and Supreme Grizzly Rage. Also gain you maximum life on each second this skill is active. And the last skill is Cyclone Armor. Well, what do you expect seeing a skill named Armor? This not only gains you a wind rapidly to knock back enemies, but also has the defending passive. You will get winds to surround and grant non-physical damage reduction. Enemies who are knocked back by Clone Armor are slowed. Preserving Cyclone Armor grants you damage reduction every 10 seconds. Last but not least, key passives Perfect Storm. Storm skill that you cast grants sprint and deal more damage to vulnerable, immobilized, and slowed enemies. Activate Grizzly Rage when you engage enemies. Try to never fight without these ultimate. It allows you to spam Tornado almost at will due to the spirit cost reduction from the Dire Wolf's aspect. Use Hurricane when you are near the enemies you want to fight. It reduces incoming damage, gives additional spirit generation with Lust for Carnage, and grants additional critical multiplier from Rampaging Werebears. Increase your attack speed with Blood Howl whenever it is off cooldown. This is a massive damage increase. Cast Storm Strike every 3 seconds to benefit from its damage reduction and the aspect of might. Cyclone Armor provides a nice passive damage reduction. Use its active ability to knock back enemies when you get overwhelmed, or to split up overlapping suppressor elite. We need to level up our glyphs to activate the additional bonus with surrounding node. As you know, because glyphs at level 15 increase their radius, we need to prioritize leveling them by completing Nightmare Dungeon. After that, we prioritize leveling our strongest glyphs to level 21. These glyphs are only used while leveling because some of our endgame glyphs can't be activated until they reach level 15. Don't level these glyphs up because you will replace them later, but here are 5 glyphs you need to focus on. The first one is Undaunted. You will gain up to 10% damage reduction the more fortified you have. When your glyphs have plus 25 willpower, for every 5 willpower purchased within range, you deal increased damage while fortified. For the next one, Exploit will help you increase more damage. For every 5 dexterity purchased within range, you deal increased damage to vulnerable target. The enemy will automatically get vulnerable when you reach plus 25 dexterity purchased in radius range. With the Werewolf Glyphs, for every 5 willpower purchased within range, you increase damage while in werewolf form. You also gain a 10% damage reduction while in werewolf form if you reach 40 willpower. The fourth one also increases damage. Critical strikes increase the damage an enemy takes from you by 20 seconds. For the requirement effect, every 5 dexterity purchased within range of core skills increase critical strike damage. The last glyphs, just to secure your start, grant a plus 30% bonus to all magic nodes within range. At requirement reach, it will increase damage dealt to crowd-controlled or vulnerable enemies. That's all the glyphs you will need, but remember, the priority is to defend your glyphs level. If you can get them to level 21, try to reach them by this order: Werewolf, Exploit, Spirit, Undaunted, Earth, and Sky. Looks like we're pretty well prepared. It's time to release the monster to the wild. Activate Grizzly Rage when you engage enemies. Try to never fight without this ultimate. It allows you to spam Tornado almost at will due to the spirit cost reduction from the Dire Wolves aspect. Use Hurricane when you are near the enemies you want to fight. It reduces incoming damage, gives additional spirit generation with Lust for Carnage, and grants additional critical multiplier from Rampaging Werebeast. Increase your attack speed with Blood Howl whenever it is off cooldown. This is a massive damage increase. Cast Storm Strike every 3 seconds to benefit from its damage reduction and the aspect of might. Cyclone Armor provides a nice passive damage reduction. Use its active ability to knock back enemies when you get overwhelmed or to split up overlapping Suppressor Elite. Also, remember, you have to play a lot more defensively in a high-tier Nightmare dungeon. While you can get hit by a few regular monsters, elites slap you eventually. Kite elites around and make sure you always have a safe ground to retreat back to. Avoid these dungeon affixes when you're farming. Monster Critical Resist, Unstoppable Monsters, Cold Enchanted, Suppressor, Monster Physical Resist, Backstabbers. This old build revolves around the Rampaging Werebeast aspect, focusing on frequent critical hits to boost critical damage. The goal is to have no cooldown on the ultimate ability while maximizing critical strike hits. The Keystone passive, Earthen Might, guarantees a 100% critical chance for 5 seconds, easily activated with AoE attack, and a lucky hit chance of up to 25% with critical strikes and crowd control effect. Let's take a look at this. Clear on Nightmare Dungeon Tier 50.
I must wait a moment. I'm not ready yet. Ready yet.
That's it for today's build. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos. See ya!